My name is Clara, and I'm 28 years old. I live in Seattle, Washington. I've always been the reliable one, the steadfast voice of reason in a family fraught with chaos. While holiday dinners brimmed with laughter and cheer, a facade that never seemed to falter, I lingered in the shadows. Just last Thanksgiving, while my younger siblings poked fun at each other's once-in-a-lifetime blunders, I stayed tucked away in the corner, far away from the bright glow of my family's affections, feeling the weight of expectations pushing down on my shoulders. Your heart beats in rhythm with your surroundings, and as my family cracked jokes over turkey, I quietly remembered the times I sacrificed my own desires to tend to theirs. Extra shifts at the cafe to fund my brother's baseball dreams, skipping college parties to babysit my sister because Mom deemed me the responsible one. I was a caretaker, not a sister, an eternal background character in a play I had penned only to see it disregarded like a crumpled script tossed aside. This image of quiet sacrifice held on tenaciously until it didn't anymore. The cracks began to show, like tiny fractures in a seemingly sturdy pillar. My mother, once my biggest supporter, was now the architect of my slow demise. Every backhanded comment, every subtle dismissal. You know, Clara, maybe if you focused on family instead of your dreams, you'd find real happiness, she'd say, the words coated in a false sincerity that turned my stomach. This was no ordinary family talk. It was a power play, and I was on the losing side. It all became painfully clear the day I discovered my youngest brother was getting a brand new car, a present of love I had fueled with my hard-earned cash, while my own aspirations were pushed further away. I overheard my mother swooning over him. He deserves it. Clara should be happy to contribute. Her nonchalance ate at me, a festering wound that felt increasingly infected by the casual indifference of those I loved most. And then one fateful comment made by her echoed in my mind long after I heard it. It's just like Clara to think she's more important than the rest of us. How I yearned to turn back the clock and confirm her words as the lie they were, yet no one was there to listen, to see me as I truly was. By then, I knew how they saw me. The martyr, the one perpetually waiting in the wings, ready to sacrifice herself for their ever-changing needs. I was the family doormat, molded by their comfort for far too long. I felt the sting of realization pierce deeper every moment they dismissed my hurt. What shattered me was their false assumption, the insipid belief that I would always be there, the emotionless, steady figure in the backdrop of their lives. And yet, amid that grave sorrow awakened something different in me, a tiny ember of rage and resolve. I would rise like a phoenix from the ashes of my despair. Unbeknownst to them, I began to plot my revenge, not through violence or chaos. No, I would pierce through their ignorance with something even sharper: success. Fueled by pain and shattered dreams, I launched my own social media marketing agency, barely a whisper against the vibrancy of my family's hollow egos. I worked with fervor while my family still saw me as the eternal sacrifice, far removed from the ambitious woman I had always been. They had no inkling of my tenacity, my dreams unfurling like new leaves sprouting from a long-frozen tree. The opportunity I had long waited for arose, wrapped in the guise of a favor. My mother needed help for an upcoming charity event. My heart raced when she mentioned it over dinner one night, her voice mingling with the clinking of silverware and laughter. I seized that moment like it was my lifeline. I'd love to help. I offered, a facade of effusive cheer in my tone while managing to keep my true identity cloaked in secrecy. Their ignorance felt liberating. As the undercurrents of my name began to circulate within the community, I felt echoes of excitement build like waves rising to a crest. The months rolled by, and as the charity gala approached, I felt both anxious and invigorated. I had organized everything, pouring my essence into every detail, meticulous and precise. The night arrived, glittering and decadent, and I stood not as their overlooked daughter or sibling, but as the orchestrator. In the very venue that my family had taken for granted, I brought them as guests of honor, their names on the all-important list, an entree into my world, a world they had wronged repeatedly. When the night glimmered into existence and I was finally able to face them from the stage, my heart raced wildly in my chest. My family sat in the front row, their expressions an enticing mixture of pride and bewilderment. They had no idea, their eyes were still catching up with the truth. I raised my glass, fighting against the wave of emotions threatening to overtake me. I began to speak, each word intentionally laced with the weight of my experiences. To the ones who taught me sacrifice for your vanity, I hope you enjoy the evening. You made this all possible. The silence that followed was deafening, their faces drained of color as realization struck like a thunderbolt. Gasps rustled amongst guests who had gathered and understood my hint of revenge. A betrayal I had admired from a distance rolled out before their eyes, like finely spun silk unraveling. I didn't need to scream. My voice held weight, and as the audience turned from my family, I felt that raw energy swell within me. I glimpsed recognition in their eyes as the deeper truth unraveled. Whispers danced through the room. Nobody rushed to defend my family, the ones who had so carelessly overlooked my worth. My heart soared. I felt free, liberated from the shackles that had bound me for too long. Silent and graceful, I walked away from the stage, the final thought echoing in my mind. Some tables are better served empty than crowded with love unearned. That night, I felt truly seen for the first time in my life. I was not merely a background character or a doormat, but a force of nature, a woman who had reclaimed her strength, her voice, her life. My revenge was never about vengeance. It was about finding my place in a world where I could finally belong unapologetically. I emerged stronger, the girl they had lost sight of, now a woman they could no longer ignore. I never had to scream.